Welcome to Taste Buds. I'm Debra Eckerling, goal strategist, writer, and foodie. And today I'm speaking with Sasha Zabar, founder of Glace and Glace Candy in New York. Welcome, Sasha.
Thanks for having me, Deborah.
Well, I'm excited to chat with you for multiple reasons. I mean, candy, chocolate, who doesn't want to talk to you about sweet treats, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
We need to start with origin story. So you are a Zabar of the Zabars.
Yeah, my grandfather, Louis Zabar, came over from Ukraine, or what was then Ukraine, Russia, Soviet Union, and and started Zabars. And then my he passed away and very young age from lung cancer. And my two uncles, Saul and Stanley, who were about 10 and 12 years older than my dad, Eli, um, kind of left the professions that they were on their path towards and came back and ran and kind of took up where my grandfather left off and have run Zabar since. And then kind of early in the 70s, my dad split off and started Eli's and EAT and Eli's Bread, um, and kind of, I would say, kind of did his own thing that was different, different or separate from the family Zabars.
So it's kind of like destiny. You were meant to be in the food business.
I think so, a little bit. I'm, uh, I, th- it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was the expectation, but I don't remember a time where I didn't want to be in some way in the food business. So it is kind of destiny. And I would say, for the rest of the family, we're either in the food business or doctors. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, that kind of tracks, right?
Yeah,
Well, if you're not going to be in the business, you might as well have the doctor in front of your name, right?
exactly.
What led to glass?
So Glass was really kind of a side project. I was working for my family. I was working for my dad, not the West Side. I was working for my dad, Eli, and and I would say I was kind of frustrated or kind of bristling at not feeling in control, not feeling able to kind of make my own decisions and take the business where I wanted to take it. Um, and and I'd been making ice cream during COVID at home, and um, and we had some old ice cream equipment from a project my dad had done in the kind of 90s, and and so it was kind of a very easy business to kind of fall into. And actually, before I opened Gloss, the other business I was playing with was a candy store, um, and both Gloss and Glace Candy are kind of inspired from. I grew up in the neighborhood where Gloss is. I grew up on 92nd Street on the east side, and um, and there was always a neighborhood ice cream shop. It was Mr. Chips at the time, and then Mr. Chips went out of business and it became Ciao Bella, and and also I remember I went to Trevor Day School, which was on 89th Street, and after kindergarten or first grade, we walking home, there would be there was like a couple of like candy focused delis, like Millionaire Deli and OK Market, and it was a real treat to kind of come back, after school and go pick out candy and ice cream and or after dinner, go get ice cream at Mr. Chips. And all of those businesses kind of either went out of business before COVID or went out during COVID. And it felt like an opportunity to kind of repopulate the neighborhood.
I love everything you just said. I especially love that while everybody was making bread, you were making ice cream.
Yeah.
But the other part of it to like bring that holiness back to the neighborhood with that food memory.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And also like one other note is, you know, um, our first location, which is at 1266 Madison Avenue, at 91st and between 90th and 91st and Madison. it sounds like a very, it's Madison Avenue, but really north of 79th Street, really north of 86th Street, Madison becomes a real neighborhood. And you don't get the kind of foot traffic and, kind of high-end shopping that you find farther south. And so, um, it really is, it's a neighborhood, and we rely on our neighbors and students, and now we get a lot of tourists who come and visit us after seeing us on social media or hearing about us from friends. But in the beginning, it was almost always just neighborhood.
And it's nice that it's expanding beyond, because isn't that what any business wants? Is for people to discover you and be a destination, air quotes.
100%, 100%. And um, I think there are some risks in our location, which is that we kind of live and die by the school schedule. So in the summer, everyone goes to summer camp, and what should be our busiest season becomes an okay season, and uh and in winter break everybody leaves to go skiing or on vacation with their families, and it very like it tracks like college towns, where we have kind of the same high peaks and valleys. Um so being able to use social media to becoming a destination really has kind of allowed the business to flourish. And um, and the other piece is like, after Glass's success, I very easily could have like opened more locations or open the candy store, you know, somewhere that didn't have those same kind of concerns. But I felt really strongly in like further cementing us as a destination. So expanding, you know, left and right versus, taking a big jump into another neighborhood.
Amazing. And what is I know the answer, but I'm going to ask you. So, uh, people are discovering you through social media. So, what have you done, and what has been the reaction to it? I mean, obviously, the reaction is "I want," but can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when we opened, we had a very good first summer. Um, I had no, I mean, I knew ice cream was seasonal. I eat ice cream year round, so it didn't affect me so much. But um, I just couldn't quite anticipate how seasonal it was, and so kind of end of September, um, when the weather started to change, our business kind of completely fell off cliff, and out of necessity, uh, I kind of had to think of ways to kind of drive more business as it got colder, and we created this like unbelievable, what has become kind of a viral sensation, which is our hot chocolate, our s'mores hot chocolate, which is a delicious hot chocolate. And then we make a house-made marshmallow that we pipe around the rim and toast to order. And it's very theatrical, but it's also delicious. And um, and we've had videos that have been seen by, 50, 100 million people. Um, and in the winter, basically from November to kind of middle of January, it's crazy. I mean, there's like a line around the block every day.
Which is just like, but this is the power of being out there, and there's so much to be said about negative to be said about social media. I personally love it because of, the way that you can connect with people and products and discover new things as you did. Um, what is it that they love? It's just looks pretty, or it tastes amazing, or it's all the above.
I think it's all the above. I mean, I think that uh I mean, I know like very acutely what it feels like to like, before you're traveling somewhere and you're kind of asking friends for recommendations, and you're looking on the internet at what's the best, best restaurants in Barcelona, or best places to visit, and best place to eat, and in Maine, and these lists are kind of, they tend to be dated. I mean, they can, by the time, it's like people have created these lists. By the time people have seen the lists and they've become popular, it's kind of like 2 or 3 years have passed. And so by the time you get there, it's really not, some of them are great and some of them are not relevant anymore. And with social media, you kind of, within, minutes, or you can find these things that are happening, uh, and then be the first ones to visit. And it's an amazing tool to kind of check in and see what everyone else is doing, in the food scene, around the world. And to be able to like go to I Google, if I find a restaurant I'm interested in, I'll like Google the name and you see the reviews and you'll look at like the Google images, and compared to Instagram, it's like so antiquated. These like 25 photos have been posted by, users over the last 10 years, and they show they show how quickly phone cameras have improved, because when you get to the end, they're like grainy and pixelated, or Yelp or TripAdvisor. And with social media, it's like you can like search for a restaurant and like see who tagged it, and it's like minute by minute you're just like scrolling through, the most up-to-date menu items or specials or things that are happening just for that week, or collaborations or partnerships. It's really cool.
And doesn't it feel sometimes like social media was just created to share food? I mean, I know it's for so many things, but it's like food, it really can shine a spotlight.
Yeah, it does. It really does. Uh, that's what I use it for.
Right. And what do you think it is about what you post that people really relate to and why they get so excited?
Well, I mean, I for one, I think um, there are a lot of people. I mean, I would say like starting with the premise, which is like anything we do, we try and take this approach, which is like we take a common conceit, hot chocolate, ice cream, sundaes, candy, and play around with it until we find something that, you know, is both familiar but different, and kind of like, I think taking the idea of a toasted marshmallow, and seeing if we could pipe it on the rim of the cup, and that it's kind of like, it's very familiar, but it also feels like foreign and exciting, and different. And um and I think there are not that many people who make delicious hot chocolates. It's a seasonal item. It's kind of like, there are chocolatiers who are famous for their chocolate, or in Paris, there are cafes that are famous for their hot chocolate. But um, I think we kind of like randomly found our way into a corner of the universe that people love hot chocolate, and they love the idea of having it differently, or trying something different than what they expect.
I'm trying to decide whether I should mention serendipity, but I guess I just mentioned serendipity. So they kind of set the bar for unique hot chocolate, and you're just like accelerating and
Yeah,
going off in your own way, right?
I think so. I also like don't know what like what happened, but it feels like hot chocolate's been having a moment for the last year or two. And now, but yeah, Serendipity, definitely famous for their frozen hot chocolate. And and their hot chocolate too, I guess. Uh, but I think the problem with Serendipity is like, it's such an institution, it's such a famous name, but they've kind of overexpanded. I mean, like, I just don't think for the versions that I've tried recently have not been so good.
Interesting. So it's not just about having something unique. You need something yummy
It
that
needs
endures.
it needs to take, and it needs to be really, in my opinion, really good quality. And that starts with the ingredients and the preparation, and then obviously the customer service. And we're always working on ways to make everything better, um, from start to finish.
And I was just going to ask what makes your products so good. And I think you answered it, but did you want to add to that at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think growing up in a family food business, both with my Zabars on the west side and my dad on the east side, especially his market, Eli's, um, is just kind of an amazing curation of the best quality ingredients that, New York and the world have to offer, from cheeses imported from France and produce grown and air freighted from around the United States. And so like using the best quality ingredients wasn't ever a thought. It just was kind of what we always were going to do. And it's the same with our ice cream, whether it's the dairy we use or the pistachios we buy. We make everything from scratch, with the exception of we do buy gluten-free Oreos, because it's too much work to make our own Oreos. But everything else we make or turn into our own. And it's very labor intensive. We do it in very small batches, and um, but I think customers appreciate it, even if they don't quite realize what's going on. I think they
They
taste it.
get it,
Taste it.
right?
Yeah.
They get the love and the quality that goes into the product.
Yeah.
Do you have a recipe that you love that you want to share? Because I think it's a little bit mean to be talking about your wonderful product and not give people a DIY version of something
Yeah.
that they can make at home.
Yeah. I mean, there's something right now that I've been playing around with that I really like. It's on our menu at Glace, and it's kind of a seasonal a la mode we do. So it's a combination of like right now we have a apple pie a la mode, and I say pie, but it's really like more of a crisp or a cobbler, and we're doing a kind of a blueberry a la mode as well. We're about to start doing a strawberry rhubarb, which because rhubarb is just in season, and we'll do a peach when it's peach season, and it's a very easy recipe. I think it makes a fantastic dessert at home. Um, and it's basically you choose your fruit, things that eat better. I mean, we do it with blueberries, but it's better with things that are not too wet. So, um, you know, uh, if we're doing strawberry rhubarb, first we'll prepare our strawberry rhubarb and kind of cook some of the moisture out. But the crumb mixture is really what makes it delicious, and it's a combination of almond flour, butter, sugar, and a little bit of rice flour. Um, and we basically just kind of add all the ingredients together, mix it up in a stand mixer. Don't go too long because otherwise it all sticks together. You want it to be kind of crumbly and loose so you can distribute it on top. And then take your fruit. I use kind of a 5-to-1 ratio. So a 5-to-1 ratio of fruit to sugar. So I'll take like 1,000 grams of blueberries or 1,000 grams of cut apples, and then 200 grams of sugar, and then I put it in a pie dish or a sheet tray or a casserole dish, and then I add 500 grams of our kind of crumble, not cooked, so it's just kind of like a crumbly mess, but it goes on top. And then I cover it in tin foil and I bake it at 325 for 30 to 40 minutes. And then I uncover it, take off the tin foil, put it back in the oven and cook it until it's kind of golden brown on top. And then we serve that with our brown butter vanilla soft serve or our Meyer lemon frozen yogurt, both which we make from scratch. And it's really wonder. And then we also cook some of the we bake some of the crumble, and that becomes the topping that we add to the soft serve later. So it's an easy kind of one dish dessert that you can make, at different times in the summer, depending on what's fresh and local.
And in the winter, enjoy it with some hot chocolate.
Yeah, exactly. You can enjoy it in the winter, and you can mix and match your ice cream. You can also have it in the winter because it's kind of a combination of warm, the crumble, and then the ice cream is cold. But it's not like having a ice cream cone in the winter, and customers love it.
Well, I thank you so much for sharing that. And if you're tuning in and you go to jewishjournal.com/podcast, You can read the article and get the wonderful recipe so you can indulge your sweet tooth from the comfort of your home. Because, well, I'm based in LA. If I wasn't, I'd be at your place like the second we got off because
Yeah.
I'm just like, I've always been an ice cream fan.
Yeah.
Is there, and I think so. My mom grew up in Detroit where they had Saunders hot fudge. So it sounds very much like you were talking about the neighborhood
Yeah.
ice cream place where you go to school. So I've got, I have a borrowed memory that is similar
Yeah.
to your own. And I think that a hominess we live in such a disconnected world, but that hominess, that food love, I think is something that keeps people grounded and, you know, I don't want to say sane, but sane, right? We need to have those good food memories, right?
Definitely. Absolutely.
Before we wrap, you need to talk about glazed candies. So I love that you expanded into your other passion projects. So
Yeah.
how did that come about? And
Well,
what do people need to know?
well, I had always wanted to open a candy store because that's what we had in the neighborhood growing up. But and candy's kind of having a moment right now. I mean, there's a lot of Swedish candy is really having a moment. There's a couple stores in New York that have done it really well. But what makes ours special is one, the two stores are actually connected in the middle. So you can walk into Glass Candy, you can walk into Glass, and then you can kind of bounce back and forth between the two stores. And um, and like, I always there was like, I always liked this idea, um, in ice cream of like marble slabs or like cold stones, which you really don't see anymore. I know that there's a brand called Cold Stone Creamery, but that they didn't invent the concept of a cold stone. And so when I opened the candy store, I had this idea of, well, what if you could pick your own candy and then pick your ice cream and then have it all kind of mixed together, and how like that the kind of infinite variations and options that would allow you. And so there's a lot of kind of small interplay between the two stores. And I also like the idea of like, in the winter, you come up to Glass and maybe like some members of the family want ice cream and some want hot chocolate and some want to take home a little bag of candy. Um, and so I think it further cements 91st Street as a destination. And then also we're making some of our own candy, which is very rare, kind of gummy and sour candies. And it's not efficient, but it's been really fun playing with different shapes and flavors and sours and textures um, and it's really it's hard work. I mean, it's like science, but it's really rewarding when it comes out well. And then what else? And we're going to do a million. I mean, it's like it's just another avenue or another channel to kind of play with and do things that are exciting for me and come up with new inventions.
So you basically created your dream playground.
Yes, I think so. I think coming up with new specials for Glass and new hot chocolates and new ice creams and now new candy and what can we cover in chocolate and what can we uh, uh, fudge? I mean, like I love fudge, but it's such an old fashioned thing. Is there a way we can update fudge? And it's that it has become kind of a playground.
Well, this is amazing. I'm so glad we connected, and I can't wait to see what the future holds. So we will definitely, absolutely have to stay in touch. Do you have any final food for thought that you want to share?
Well, come visit, come say hello next time you're in New York, or any of the listeners, come say hello. And I think we're on a kind of exciting journey, and we'll see where it goes.
And where can people learn more?
Go to Glass New York. It's at Glass New York for Instagram, or glassny.com for our website. And just kind of keep tuned on everything we're working on.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sasha Zabar, for joining me. Thank you for tuning into Taste Buds with Deb. Don't miss an episode. You can subscribe on YouTube, iTunes, and or your favorite podcast platform. And if you go to jewishjournal.com/podcast, You can get the recipes and read the articles that go with each episode, and you can learn more at tastebudswithdeb.com. Until next time, indulge your sweet tooth and bon appetit.